And welcome back to this week's instalment of John and T Squared with the gorgeous Tracy Arnott and the lovely Tracy Buras. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello, John. Hello, everyone. Hi there, Tracy.
Hi, John. Hi, Tracy. Hello, everyone. I am well.
Is it just me, or has this week really dragged on? I feel like I'm exhausted already. Sorry, I don't want to start off on a negative note, but like, are we there yet? Got so much done though, which is good. It's important. So this week's topic, UFOs. Now I know anybody who is not a quilter is going to go, what on earth is this? So a UFO in quilting terms is called an unfinished fabric object, which is a UFO, and you get something called a WIP, which is a work in progress, and then you get a PhD, which is a project half done. We have got so many different quilting acronyms. We've got Block of the Month, BOM, BSK, Basic Sewing Kit, DSM, Delta Sierra Mike, which is Domestic Sewing Machine, FMQ, Free Motion Quilting, FQ, Fat Quarter, and FW is a featherweight, which everybody wants one. And LAQ is a long arm quilter, which I think we can all class ourselves as that. An LQS, which is a local quilt shop. PP is paper piecing, and it goes on and on and on. And WTS, wrong sides together. Oh, this is a good one for Tracy B. Bravo Delta November Quebec. Do you want to know what that one is?
Yes, please, John.
Bad day, not quilting.
Oh, absolutely.
And Tracy A may have an FOB, a fear of binding.
Oh no, that's not me. How about, does anyone have any nesty?
Nesty, what's that?
Not even started yet.
Yes, hundreds.
Or
is that what a fabric shop is called?
What?
I think that's another name for a fabric shop.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And when you own a fabric shop, that makes it even harder. However, I do think my favorite one is FART. Fabric Accumulation Road Trip.
Yeah. The other one.
I think we'll stop now because
I have two really good ones. Yeah. PIPS, PIPS is projects in pizza boxes.
Oh.
And then PIGS, PIGS, is projects in grocery sacks.
Interesting.
Ooh.
I've never heard
of those either, but a pizza box is a really good idea.
They're actually, if you can get by, like, because they will sell you them, they're like $1 a box here. They are the perfect box for keeping your squares in as you progress with a quilt and to pack to class and stuff.
That's very good.
But the best one is SABLE, SABLE, stash accumulation beyond life expectancy.
Well, I'm hoping I'm immortal given the amount of stash that I have.
Yeah.
But I don't think it works that way. It'd be nice if it did. So we're talking about all these acronyms, and the reason being is obviously UFOs, unfinished fabric objects. And I think it's extraordinary how many times we start a project and we either don't get time to finish it, or we make a mistake and can't be bothered to unpick it, and we're now irritated by the project, so we put it to one side. And how many times that happens, I think it's extraordinary. So go on, Tracy B, tell us about any UFOs you've got.
I have a few. I try and be very organized and pack them into boxes and label them with the next thing that needs to be done. But I always find there's something more exciting that's coming along. Oh, I need to try this technique out first, or that kind of thing. So I've probably got about four that I've got stashed in boxes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What?
4, yes, that's a lot, I think. I mean, if you
Tracy
consider that
A?
I only finished 2 in a year, then that 4's a lot.
Tracy A? Is it just me thinking 4? Oh, okay.
No, I'm just presently having the coronary over her just having 4. So please stand by.
I think I'm going to need a minute as well. I'm
Oh.
looking currently just in one little corner of my room at 20 at least. And that's just what I can see in my eye line. That's not what's buried in boxes in the loft.
Oh no, John. Come now.
No, I'm serious. I must have probably well over 100.
Sure. No, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that fabric's calling me.
I'd never thought of that before. Now, of course,
Only if
I'm
you've-
an insomniac to start with. So 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I mean, do you make a little list and say, okay, this is what I'm going to get done this month? Or do you, yeah, I don't know. Again, fall worries
Actually, you know
me
what?
because I know that
Just
they're
follow that
there
on.
and-
What do you mean? That's a really good idea. Tell us that. Talk more about that.
Oh, making a list of the UFOs that you need to get done. I mean, I joined a quilt along. I'm on a quilt along, where you every month you work on a quilt, you number them 1 to 12, and then every month they draw a number and say, okay, whatever's number 4 on your list, then you've got to work on that to get it finished. Or yeah, and then
Ooh.
every month you try and finish. And then there's even a little spreadsheet where you can like tick it off and mark a little color, if you like that kind of thing. But yeah, I like the idea of that. But no, I've got so many things I want to try out. And again, if you've only got X amount of time to do your quilting, and then if it's shiny, bright, and sparkly, then that's the one I'm going to go for, not the ugly fabric in a box somewhere.
So I'm going to just share a quick story with you. My husband, in his infinite wisdom, Marie Kondo'd me. Now, I don't know if you know who Marie Kondo is. Anybody know?
Ah, dear. Yep.
So
Bring me
Tracy
joy,
A,
John.
do you know
Bring
who
me
Marie
joy.
Kondo is?
Oh, yes.
So one rainy Saturday afternoon, I found myself being invited into our living room now bearing in mind, we have a lot of books and I adore books. It's my second biggest collection in the house is the books. And we were moving home and we'd sold our London property. We were selling our Tring property and we're moving now. And we had to sort out the books. So my husband seated me in the middle of the living room and proceeded to hand me every single cookbook in the house and tell me which ones I liked, which one I got. And he said the words, "What brings you joy of this book?" And I looked at him and thought, something's going on here that I'm not aware of. Anyway, so we sorted all the books out, and I was sitting there and I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking, I've been tricked. I know I've been tricked, but I don't know how. So I Googled giving joy sorting, and whose face and name pops out is the Japanese Art of Cleaning or something by Marie Kondo. I then promptly bought the audiobook and listened to the audiobook, and my husband Marie Kondo'd me. And I was absolutely astounded going through, but it was very good. And I have to say that it is very therapeutic, and it is really nice knowing that of the books that we've got left, every single one of them I genuinely like, genuinely love, and genuinely want to keep in my home, because your home is your biggest asset. And you're basically giving real estate to something in your home. And if you don't love it, why is it there? And it's a really great philosophy. I'm not quite sure I'm going to thank the old cookbooks for their service, have a ceremony and send them on their way. I think that's a little esoteric for me, but anybody who does want to do that, more power to you. But one thing that really struck me with the book and her philosophy was about things that we don't finish. And she was talking about books and the books that we read and the books that we don't finish and the books that we have in our lives. And her argument is, she says, if you're reading a book and you don't finish it, why? And you think to yourself, well, and she says, you're going to come up with excuses as to why you didn't do it. And the main reason you didn't finish it was because you weren't enjoying it. And you put it down to carry on with something you were enjoying. And I wonder how many of us have UFOs in our lives that, in fact, we weren't enjoying, we don't enjoy, we don't want. And in truth, we should actually donate somewhere because we're never going to finish them. What do you think about that?
I like that idea. I think that every time you've got something that's unfinished and it nags on you, it doesn't allow your creativity to spark, because every time you want to buy a new piece of fabric, every time you want to start a new quilt, you've got that sort of guilt feeling of, should I really be doing this because I've got so many
Yeah.
unfinished projects. And what we do at and one of the quilt guilds that I go to is that they've got what they've called a dump table. So anything that you want that you don't want anymore, you just pop into, whether it's a block that you're not liking anymore, or it's fabric you don't like, and you just pop it on this table, and then someone else sort of scratches through it, grabs it, and then they've made, and the amount of stuff that's been made into really beautiful things. I think that's such a great thing to see, because someone else, it's given someone else a little bit of joy, and it's become something that's finished. And then you have this guilt-free, well, at least for me, a guilt-free conscience for when you start a new project. So yeah, that's just my sort of philosophy on it. A nice way to pass it along.
I love that. I love that idea.
And it's amazing what someone else can do, because you fall out of love with a block, or you fall out of love with a fabric, but it'll just spark something in somebody else. Or maybe someone's like not going through such a great time financially, but that little block is something for them to, or fabric, something for them to carry on with. So
Yeah, keep them
it
going.
helps them along the way. Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
So I've got a suggestion. As I've been sitting here thinking this, Tracy B is saying she's probably got 4 projects that she hasn't finished. I think Tracy A and I can both easily say we've got at least 100. At least.
Oh my God, that is just crazy. I really wouldn't be able to sleep with that amount of, although you guys have got a lot more fabric than what I do. So it's obviously,
but we also, if you're
proportional.
only doing 4 quilts in a year, I did 5 quilts in December. So it's a different, and some of them are samples that I've used for TV shows and for stuff that I've just not finished yet, because it's shop samples that I can, instead of remaking a sample, you've got it there to use for the next time you do that class. So I suppose that's a little bit of a get out of jail free card, for the want of a better word.
I think you can get away with that one, John.
But I do think that maybe what we need to do is do a challenge, and perhaps we can open this up to our audience as well. And we can say, right, UFO sort out, let's get this started, and let's start it for the month of March. We're going to catalogue our UFOs. We're going to get rid of the UFOs that we don't like and don't want or won't finish, and donate those to a worthy cause. And then we say that we're going to try and do X number of UFOs in the month of March. What do you think of that, girls?
I love that idea.
That's a great idea.
I don't know about you, but sometimes if you sort through your UFOs and you make a list of one of the things I read somewhere which really helped me is when you're in the middle of sewing something, or you're busy working on a quilt, if you make a list of the next few steps, okay, the next step is to finish block A to Z, or sew the blocks together, or put the borders on, or bind it, or whatever. And if you make a list of what it is that's got to be done next on that quilt, and in each little bag is the list of what's got to be done. If you've only got a half an hour, sometimes I find I've started on something and there actually wasn't that much more to go on it, and it was just like that, like a mental block of picking it up and working on it, because it just you weren't in the mood. But when you sat down and said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, it really only took maybe a morning to get it finished. And like just not the relief, but just knowing that you've completed a project, and you're like, yes, I can start something else, or I can buy more fabric, or have that little carrot.
Anything to get me to buy more fabric, I'm there.
I knew that would strike a chord.
But I think
you
hit on something really important there, and I think it's really a good idea that maybe what we all do is between now and the 1st of March, we go and do our list, and we make our decisions of what we're going to do and what's left to do on our projects. And because I think you're quite right, we do occasionally have those moments where you just physically can't carry on with a project for whatever reason. And when you look at it 6 months later, you think, actually, I've only got one border to put on, or this, that, and the next thing. And you then actually can find a solution, and you're not as emotionally upset about it as you were at the time.
Yeah, that is a good one. That is definitely a good one, because there are people who are list writers, and others, if you write a list, I think that's also something very satisfactory when you've done like the next set, and you can like draw a little line or put a little tick next to what you've done. That really does speak to those sort of people that are list makers. So whatever kind of gets you going and helps you get stuff done. So maybe what I'll do is draft up a really nice little work, UFO where you can mark what needs to get done next, little list, and we can have it as maybe a downloadable PDF where you can just download it and start
Love.
filling that in.
Love, love, love.
Ooh, I like you.
Ooh, this is exciting.
I know, right?
But now how do we define UFO? Have we cut it, or are we just looking at the fabric and pulled the fabric together? What are we defining as UFO?
Well, I think you just maybe need to, if you're going to work on something, maybe, what do you say, like small, medium, and large, one that's going to be a real quick little finish. So maybe work on that first so that you've got a real good win. And then the others that are maybe going to take a little bit longer to do. So if you've got lots to do, maybe one, like put in a quick win in between them so that you do a quick win and then maybe a more long-term project and then a quick little win so that you at least feel a sense of accomplishment. And as I said, carrot dangling is a good one.
Love it. And what do you reward yourself with? Fat quarters when you're finished?
I don't know. No, I think fat quarter might be what's happening after a meal, but maybe a champagne in the fridge. Pop a bottle of champagne. I think that's a really good idea. So the end of March, I'll have a nice bottle of, we'll call it sparkling wine. We're not so posh down here with champagne, but we'll have nice sparkling wine in the fridge that we can crack
having a
the cork
bottle of
when we
something that
finished our
brings you
first
joy.
UFO.
I love it.
That's a great
yes.
idea.
Yes. Or
And for
not
the
that we're
UFO,
peddling
it's not
alcohol or
something you've
anything.
cut. It's something that you actually have started sewing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know exactly what I'm going to put on mine. Oh, my word. It's a Bonnie Hunter mystery.
Oh.
Oh, I love the Bonnie Hunter mysteries, but I always save the patterns until I've seen what it is because I actually don't like mystery quilts. I don't like them at all because normally I normally get my colors wrong with the mystery quilt and I end up doing it wrong and I don't like it. So which Bonnie Hunter are you thinking?
That could be, I can't remember which one it is, but it's all cut in a box. And it's one of the ones when I think about it, there's only maybe like 2 blocks to go until I'm finished it. And I can't tell you which one it is, but I made it a little bit smaller and I changed the colors completely. So yes, that's definitely the one I'm going to have to do because I have had it for 3 years, I think.
Well, look how excited you are about doing it. That's wonderful. And that's
well,
what we
there's
need.
nothing like putting it, when you put stuff out into the world, there's nothing like that to really keep you going there. You got to keep your word.
Ain't that the truth? Tracy A, what are your projects going to be?
Well, I have a bin of various finished quilts and things. Like some of my UFOs just need to be long armed. Some just need maybe 20 minutes worth of work. Yeah, they've got pushed aside because I had other commitments that had to be done. So, and these were the ones in my UFO box were strictly for me. So my stuff is always left behind, and it's stuff that is needed for other people or other areas of my life was always getting done. So yeah, I like that idea of being accountable and making a spreadsheet and seeing what's there. And some I think I just will give away because I know I just don't like them anymore. My colors have changed too over the years. So, but I do have a good Rubbermaid bin full of odds and sods.
You said something there that was a bit interesting to me, that the UFOs are just for you. Do you actually have you ever made a quilt for yourself?
I have given most quilts that I've done have always been given away. I have yet, except for one I had, it's on the wall. I have.
Oh, York, that one's stunning.
Oh yeah, that one, that was just a fluke. But the one that I have that's on the wall was made by my grandma, embroidered monthly blocks of flowers like January, February, March. And so then I turned it into a wall hanging and did it with a nice spring green. So it's a quilt, it's on the wall. And that's the only thing that I have. I have a couple of little hand pieces that I did out of recycled wool around. But
you've never made yourself a quilt?
No, I'm in the process. I have a beast of a quilt but it's not finished. I ran out of steam before.
Oh, I
before.
know the one you mean. Shall we put
Yeah.
that on your list? Because I think it's important. I do
Oh,
this
that was-
accountability class twice a month, and what that is that everybody sets goals for themselves at the beginning of the year to see what we do throughout the year.
Yeah.
And one of the things a lot of the people in the group have said is none of them actually make quilts for themselves. They're always making quilts for everybody else.
Yeah.
And what I've done with the ladies in that group is I've challenged them to make themselves a quilt. So if you've got a UFO that would be for yourself, I think that's something you need to do as well.
Yeah.
But that's just
So
my 2 cents worth. I will mind my business.
no,
But I think it's
no.
important that occasionally we need to remember that we're important in this process as well. And yes, you need to give out as much love and care to the world as you can, but equally you do occasionally need to give that to yourself. Otherwise you're not progressing anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And so I have great plans to finish my beast of a quilt. I just, I was thinking about taking it to Alberta with me when I go, but
Mhm.
I think it's going to be too much to take, and I don't really have access. I'd have to find.
I
a
think
store.
you should take a nice Tula Pink hand sewing EPP kit to Alberta. That's small. It's easy to pack into a box. You can take it
Yeah.
with you. That's a much easier idea. And it's a lot
And
smaller.
every time you open the box, you see pretty fabric. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But no,
I'm liking this idea, girls. Hello, Abby. Hello, Rocco. If you ever hear a puppy in the background, it's Rocco or Abby just saying hello. But I'm liking this idea, girls. And I think that the idea of having a challenge for everybody is a really good one. I think that would work well. Because I know for myself, if I'm doing it with other people, I think that's going to help. And I think one thing, will you allow me to do a little bit of long arm quilting with my tops? Because I counted underneath my frame the other day, underneath my counter the other day, something like 70 finished quilt tops that had never been turned into quilts. So may I
Holy
do?
cow, John.
No, it's absurd. It's absurd. And the quilt tops, oh my goodness. There was one I pulled out the other day. And this was when I met my friend Lorraine at a retreat. It was all batik fabric, and I'd misplaced the pattern for the batik fabric. So I made them into 2.5-inch squares, and I sewed, I think the quilts ended up being about 90 inches, so that's what, 2.25 meters by about 2 meters, and they were all 2.5-inch squares. And then I put a surrounding of flying geese all the way around it, all in these gorgeous, light, beautiful batiks. So that's one of the quilts I desperately want to quilt up. So I think if we're able to do the UFO between the two, I think that would bring me a lot of joy as well, because technically it is a UFO.
Yeah.
It's just not finished. Yeah.
So if we're counting the UFOs under the counter, I may have about 140, 150 UFOs.
Wow.
Okay, John, you are not allowed to sleep till 2024.
Who said I slept already?
I love my I love my sleep, and I definitely need a good 8 hours. Otherwise, if I wasn't able to sleep, I would definitely be up quilting. But I'm real a grumpy grouch if I don't have enough sleep. So yeah, I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing to be a bad sleeper.
All I will say is, if you are fortunate or unfortunate, you decide, enough to come near me before 10 a.m. in the morning, you will die. And I make no apologies for it. If you are not brandishing a double espresso and silence, you will die. I want my double espresso and at least an hour of silence. I will talk to you when I'm ready. That is the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just easier. And the thing is, no one can ever say they weren't informed of that either. But I think we've all got our quirks, don't we?
Yeah, I think you need a puppy, John, because when you
I'd
wake up in
love
the
a
morning
puppy.
and a little puppy comes to lick you all over and his little tail's wagging, happy to see you, you can't be grumpy with that.
You know, I've never had a puppy, so I won't know.
Okay, I'm going to take a video and send it to you. You can play it when you wake up in the morning.
Bad idea.
We may or may not be friends after that. I don't know.
No, you're fine. That's actually a really good idea. I love it. Love it.
Dear.
So now we've got our plan, and for March, UFO month, we're going to put a dent in those UFOs.
Isn't March has got an International Quilters Day. So maybe what we should do is on International Quilters Day, have a little brag.
Ooh, maybe we could do a Zoom.
Oh, a Zoom
Ooh.
so long or something. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. More
Ooh.
details to come. More details to come. I like this
Okay.
idea.
Excellent.
Love it. I don't know how we're going to organize this timing wise. I think poor Tracy Arnott is not going to be able to sleep one day, but I think that is a
Okay.
really good idea, doing a sew along of our different projects. I think that's a great idea. Maybe we could do it as a sponsored thing for charity.
I
Oh,
like
that
that.
would be cool.
Very
That could
clever.
be really good. See how we go. So as you can tell, lots and lots and lots being thought up here. Do you guys want to talk more about your UFOs and what it is that stops you doing a project or finishing a project?
Well, for me, a lot of it is just like when you start a project, everything's great, and the minute you hit something where there's a bit of a snag, or maybe you weren't quite happy with your color choice, I find that's always a little bit hard to get the motivation going when you kind of fall out of love with either the pattern or maybe the fabric wasn't the right choice. I think those are the kind of things, and I think it's just for me, I just have to pull myself towards myself and just get my head together and get it going. But I did start at one point a little group where, you would be there to encourage people, maybe if somebody had an issue with, or I had a problem with this, or someone gave you a hand to maybe help baste your quilt to get it done, because maybe that was the one thing that you, needed help with. And that's maybe, I thought that was quite a nice way of doing a get together, but that sort of fizzled out a little bit. I don't think my organizing skills were as good at that stage, but you never know. That might be something I look to do with my quilting group to get them with their UFOs finished. Oh, I love it when I brainstorm with myself.
But I
Sorry.
think as well, one of the things that we've all got the problem of is time. And it's not that you're not organized enough. It's just a case of, unfortunately, we've all got to make a living and we've got to earn money to be able to do it. And as much as we'd love to quilt 7 days a week, we also have to pay bills. So having a work job, work life, and having to have a job and do all of that means, we've got to just keep buying those lotto tickets so we can do it full time.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
All I would say is do not open a quilt shop thinking you're going to spend all day stitching away and enjoying yourself.
Well, I often wondered about that. Quilting is such a joy in my life. If I did it full time and I didn't do printing anymore and I only did quilting, would I still love it as much? And that's always, been a thing for me, that if I did it as a job, would it still be something I'd love to do?
I can tell you honestly, no, because quilting is my favorite thing in the world. You become resentful after a while, and it doesn't matter how many good things you put into the world. It doesn't matter how many good things. It's never enough, and it's never enough to pay the rent. It's never enough to pay the bills, and you'll always have that one person who will have this wonderful knack of being able to say one thing that literally just puts you in tears. Like literally just today, I've been in tears twice by a customer. And it's not that they've done anything specifically malicious. It's just, I don't think people recognize and realize just how hard an industry this is to have a shop in. And it's, no matter how much you do, it's never enough. And my advice to anybody who loves quilting, don't ever open a quilting shop. It will break you.
Oh, shame, John.
One
No, it really
person,
will.
one person cannot run a quilt shop. It takes an army.
It really does.
With one person, yeah, you can do all the day-to-day, the paperwork and all that, but there's so many different things involved, like making samples, keeping things up to so you need an army to run a quilt store. You really do.
And I've got a fabulous team. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
My girls are amazing, but
Yeah.
all of the admin, and I have developed a deep dislike for certain human beings, and I don't like that part about me. I don't like it at all, because it's very, very hard to still smile and be nice to people who are knowingly or unknowingly so awful and can be so cruel and so mean. It's really, really hard to stay positive, because then the next person comes in and you've got to be perky and you've got to be bouncy and you've got to go, hello, how are you? And genuinely mean it, because they've done nothing wrong. But it's
Yeah.
really hard to wipe that away and not take it personally, because it is every single thing in that shop is me. My whole life is that shop.
Yeah.
My life savings are in it. And you just think to yourself, gosh, you know, that wasn't a good investment, was it? I should have just bought a house and bought fabric with whatever I got every month, renting it out.
And when
So-
you do find your team too, it's really important to look after them. And I mean, your girls are wonderful and they're amazing, and what you do for them is awesome.
I've been
So
very lucky with them.
yeah, so I was just speaking in general that it does take an army.
It does.
It's not just all fabric on the wall and cutting and sewing. There's so much more. So
Mm.
yeah, it's tough some days.
And I remember I phoned Andrew to say, oh my God, this is happening. He says, if you didn't care and it wasn't such an important part of your life, you wouldn't cry, you wouldn't be upset. So
That's
if you ever
right.
think that you don't care, you're obviously crying for a reason.
That's right.
So for all the bad, there is still good. We've got to look forward, and we just try
Oh,
not to take it
and
personally.
it's sad. One person can walk in and change your whole life and day, and you're rejuvenated and everything. So yeah, it's amazing.
It is true. Gosh, how did we go into such a somber tone there? So
I
there we
know
go.
that
Top
went
tip of the
weird.
day.
So
Don't
be
open a
nice
fabric
to your-
shop if you love quilting.
no, top tip for the day: be nice to your quilt shop owner.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
All of these on unfinished fabric objects, hey?
How did we even get to this topic?
No, I know. But I will think one thing you've mentioned as well, Tracy B, is that for your mental health, it wouldn't help you having all those UFOs. And I won't deny, for me, my anxiety about having so much stuff, you know, health reasons and health stuff having come up recently, you do kind of think to yourself, gosh, if you do pass away, what do you do with it all? And I think that may be a very good idea for the next topic for next week, if you girls are up for that.
All
Mhm.
right, good one. Yeah, very good
Yeah.
one, John. Fabulous.
Have you got anything else to add before we put our PDF out? If anybody does want to take part, check out the PDF. We're trying to look into the logistics for the March Sew Along on International Quilters Day. That may be in a later podcast. We will keep you posted. But yeah, girls, have you got anything else to add?
Nothing from my side.
I'm fine.
Nothing? Come on, you must have something.
Oh, no, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. No, I already said it. Be nice to your quilt shop owner. That's my thing.
Yeah. If you hide the bin of UFOs far enough away and you don't see it when you sit down to sew, there's no guilt.
And today's
little-
avoidance technique has been brought to you by the wonderful Tracy Arnott.
I support that message.
We all do, I think. And I think that's the thing that's
Yeah.
got us into the trouble in the first place.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I love it. Well, ladies, thank you so much for your time today. And all of you, thank you for your company. It's been wonderful to be able to be a part of your lives for this week. Enjoy the rest of your week ahead. And we will catch up with you next week with the morbid topic of, if we go, what do we do with it all? So, ladies, look after yourselves and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you, John. It's been great. I hope the audience enjoys our quirky topics and have a wonderful day.
Goodbye from me too. Have a fabulous week ahead, John and Tracy, and to the rest of you, be nice to your quilt shop owner.
It sounds like Tracy Burress is going to come and get you if you don't.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Right, ladies, look after yourselves and see you all next week.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.